This is the process shot. I'm Michael. I'm stuck in a haunted movie theater, and at least the doors don't lead into endless voids. Under the Skin is a weird science fiction drama from Jonathan Glazer released back in 2013, which follows what I believe are alien beings who feed on human beings for sustenance. One of the aliens, disguised as a woman, picks up men and lures them into a house under the pretenses of sex, but instead traps them, eventually liquefying them. This is the procedure for a while, until the woman encounters a man with a severe facial deformity, who she lures but lets free, after which she herself runs away from the other aliens, who then set out to look for her. That search, and really anything involving the other alien beings, don't really matter to the film story, which in itself is pretty loose and more visually expressed than explicitly stated. Instead, the movie follows the woman around almost entirely, and without much dialogue to boot. There are some small conversations here and there, but the movie is mostly silent otherwise, or at least lacks any substantial dialogue related to ongoing events, and so a good amount of the film's story has to be figured out on your own. Granted, what we do see is generally explicit enough to know what it wants to get across, and there isn't necessarily much needed to understand what the film is about. But there's a great amount of ambiguity to deal with anyway. It's a choice that keeps you engaged with the film at least, but if you go in expecting a stronger narrative, then you'll be a bit disappointed. And if you expect a more traditional narrative, then you'll be confused. Being a more visually driven film, Under the Skin does put an emphasis on what you see and hear, making the movie more of an experience than other films. It paces itself rather slowly, letting the sounds of the area fill the silences as suspense builds up over time. It's a sound design style which creates an immediate contrast by using natural sounds against a more harsh soundtrack when the aliens are more clearly at work, such as when the woman traps her victims. The film's cinematography plays into this slow pacing and silence as well, generally keeping a good view of the emptiness of the world with bits of humanity sprinkled around, or perhaps emphasizing the alien woman's own separation from human life by physically removing her from interaction, which is an idea explored somewhat in a scene where she ends up in a nightclub and tries to escape in a panic. Under the Skin is an odd film, but there is an actual narrative through line that is explored once the film breaks through the surface levels and starts to dig deeper, almost literally as the title suggests. The film's lack of an explicit explanation of anything will make it a turnoff for anybody expecting or hoping for something more in line with standard science fiction stories, but it's still firmly within the genre and the themes that science fiction usually explore. Specifically, the idea of an alien being coming to terms not only with what separates humans from aliens like them, but whether or not they can truly integrate within our society without their truer nature coming to light. Or something like that. Seriously, the movie doesn't outright explain anything. That's just what I got from it. Under the Skin, Jonathan Glazer, 2013. 3.5 stars. I recommend seeing it, but I would say that this is the kind of movie you might need to watch more than once to fully get. Anyways, that's it for this review. If you liked it, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. If you subscribe, you'll get more reviews like this in the future. In the meantime, I need to do another sweep of this theater to make sure the doors don't lead anywhere new to me.